Welcome, everyone, to our Faith Life podcast of Knowing Jesus. I'm Pastor Paul.
I'm Pastor Alice.
And I'm Pastor John.
It's so good to be here with you. We're in the second part of basically just a short two-part sermon series where we talk about Jesus' vision for humanity. And what we've come down to is that Jesus' vision for humanity is to bless us so that we can bless others. And we've been handing out these bracelets. We've actually heard some great stories about these bracelets, giving people opportunity just to share this message of Jesus' vision for humanity. I am blessed, I bless others. And so we talked mainly this last Sunday about what it means to bless others and our calling to do that. And we looked at a specific passage from the Gospels, Mark 9. But before we get there, Alice, we also talked about...
We talked about the goat and the loat. And we have our goats here, right? We all have these statues being the goat. Could be greatest of all time or God over all things.
That's right. That's right. We went with greatest of all time because you'll hear from the scripture today that that's what the disciples were debating.
In the current translation by you.
That's right. In the current translation, yes. And so you have a pop quiz for us.
You always do pop quizzes, and so I thought this was my opportunity to do a pop quiz for you two guys. So you can't look at my paper.
Sweet.
So I went to the internet and I Googled who are the greatest in certain categories.
That's awesome.
And I'm just going to see if either one of you...
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That's not one of the questions.
Okay. All right.
First of all, we're going to do sports.
Jean-Claude Keeley.
I am in charge right now, guys. Just listen.
Alice in the middle.
I'm always in the middle. Here we go. Sports. Okay. Greatest of all time, according to the internet, basketball.
Michael Jordan.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Oh, Michael Jordan. What about...
Although, let's be honest. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain, as far as scoring and dominance of the league, he changed the league. The rules that we have today are based so much on him because they just tossed him the ball and he would just score.
This is not a pop quiz if you guys go off on tangents.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
All right, focus, gentlemen. Here we go. Greatest of all time for ice hockey.
Wayne Gretzky.
Bobby Orr.
Ooh, 2 for Paul, Wayne Gretzky. Ooh. What about greatest of all time for football?
Well, that's just got that. Wow, that's tough.
Just an answer, Paul.
Okay, Tom Brady.
According to the internet, John, not what you think.
Well, then it's invalid because the internet doesn't always know. Tom Brady, fine.
Tom Brady, you both win.
This is what happens when you ask guys who's the greatest of all time. We have to give our reasoning behind that.
This is just a pop quiz. That means quick answer. So let's keep going. What about baseball?
Babe Ruth.
In this case, it's Shohei Ohtani being the greatest of all time.
Wow, yeah.
Babe Ruth. Okay.
Am I perfect so far?
So far.
Wow.
Here's the last one for the sports category. Greatest of all time in golf.
Tiger Woods.
Jack
easily.
Nicklaus.
Ooh, one for John.
Okay, Jack Nicklaus.
Okay, moving on to music.
Okay.
What about...
My mom would be so disappointed in my answer.
Guys, by the way.
Jack Nicklaus. You know that my mom met Jack Nicklaus?
No.
I give up.
Yeah, she got to ride in a golf cart with him.
Sweet.
At the Colonial
if only they had a
Country Club.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm trying really hard. We're going to music
They do
now.
have a selfie. I've got a picture of it. I'll ask my mom to send it. All right.
Okay, I'm going to really try to keep you on track.
What's the category now?
This is now music. So I want to know, what do you think the internet said was the greatest
And by the way, if you're listening and you're with other folks, you get to debate this as well.
Yeah.
That is true.
In this category, I'm doomed already. But go ahead, Alice.
And you could also pray that my voice could be heard. Here we go. The greatest band of all time.
The Beatles.
Coldplay.
Oh, Beatles. Good, John. Here we go. What about the king of pop?
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson, yeah.
What about the greatest of all time in the rock and roll category?
Elvis.
I'm going to say rock and roll category.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, wait a second. I'm going to say AC/DC.
No, you were right. It is Elvis Presley.
I'm as shocked as you all are.
Well, yeah. I mean, you said you weren't going to get these. I know, but greatest of all time. It doesn't say present time.
Okay.
Okay. Movies. The number one movie of all time, according to the online voting.
Armageddon.
You just answer that for any movie question, John.
I said Gone with the Wind, but I could go with True Lies. That's my favorite.
All right, my favorite
True
is...
Lies?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Spy versus Spy.
Schwarzenegger?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
the number one movie, gentlemen, is my number one favorite, Shawshank Redemption.
Ah, yeah.
How is that the number one movie? Who
Here's what
ranked
the internet
that?
said. quoted this. This film is praised for its themes of hope and friendship. So
And-
people like emotional stuff, Pastor Paul. Okay, moving on.
was gonna say, there's
Greatest
some scenes.
superhero
Okay.
movie of all time.
Oh, greatest superhero movie. Well, superheroes. So we're talking Marvel and that kind of stuff.
I like the first Iron Man.
Iron
that's
Man.
pretty good. I'm gonna say, one of those the end of the world ones where all the superheroes come together and they fight against the bad purple guy. What's his name?
I also love the Black Panther.
Yeah, that's
Endgame.
it.
There
I
we
like
go.
those.
Black
Those are pretty
Panther.
good.
Actually, none of you are right. It's The Dark Knight.
Oh yeah. No, the Dark Knight. I get.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
What
That's
about
good.
this one? The most epic storytelling
Is
in
the
a
Dark
movie.
Knight with Joaquin in it?
I think so, but we've moved on, Paul.
Christian Bale.
Christian
That's right,
Bale's.
Christian
So good we
Bale.
have Kelly here. She's so good at movies.
Man, the question we
Awesome.
really need to ask is who would be better at this, Kelly or Joel? Right?
it'd be
because
hard for the
Joel
two.
is.
Joel's
Yeah,
good at
that'd be an
movies, too.
awesome competition.
Alex.
That's all right.
saying.
Yes. Now, the greatest movie
Greatest
of all time
time.
when you think about epic storytelling.
Epic
I can't do
storytelling.
Roots.
No,
the
that's a
saga.
good movie, though. No.
Armageddon.
No, it's the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
All right. Now, this one's high stakes. These are the most impactful Bible stories.
Oh.
So when I put this in, it gave me 3 different epic Bible stories. So I just want to hear, what do you all think is the greatest Bible story of all time? And we'll just see if you get one of these.
Good
Abraham
Samaritan.
saving Isaac.
Good Samaritan?
I was Isaac being not sacrificed.
Okay.
Yeah.
According to the internet.
Do we get? Don't we
We
get to
get
give you 3?
You could give, well, I was just going to have you give me one and then tell you what the 3 are.
The greatest. Okay. I'm going to say the story of the Good Samaritan.
Okay.
The resurrection
Prodigal son.
and feeding of 5,000.
Oh, nice.
I just did Prodigal Son. I'm not going to do a third. I'll wait and be patient for you, Alice, to
Okay,
see what
thanks.
the internet says.
The internet said the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus,
Okay.
the story of the Exodus, and the birth
yeah.
of Jesus.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess that makes sense.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
let
that's
the
pretty good.
internet
We
go
have
this time.
holidays for that, pretty much.
Kind of true. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
There's my pop quiz, and it was kind of a failure because you didn't play along. So we'll try again later.
What are you talking about? We were gentlemen the whole time. Oh my goodness.
You just
Stellar
wanted
in the
to go.
music category.
You just wanted to go on tangents, and that's okay. But
That's-
I'm going to bring us back now.
That was awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for
Yeah.
the pop quiz on who are the goats.
That's right.
Because I'm pretty sure that the disciples would have had the same pop quizzes. I mean, they'd be
Probably.
like, "Who's the goat
goat
in the Old
Testament.
Testament?"
That's right.
You know, and
That's right.
Obviously, they were asking which one of them was the
Yeah.
goat.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, you're
welcome. John, why don't you read our text for today? We're going to Mark 9, verses 30 through 37.
And I'm only pinch hitting because Alice's voice is not
Yeah.
as strong
Sorry,
as
I
we
have
would
a
like
cold,
it
everyone.
to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Starting with verse 30, they left that place and passed through Galilee. Jesus did not want anyone to know where they were because he was teaching his disciples. He said to them, "The Son of Man is going to be delivered into the hands of men. They will kill him, and after 3 days he will rise." But they did not understand what he meant and were afraid to ask him about it. They came to Capernaum. When he was in the house, he asked them, "What were you arguing about on the road?" But they kept quiet because on the way they had argued about who was the greatest, or the goat, as Paul would translate this. Sitting down, Jesus called the 12 and said, "Anyone who wants to be first must be the very last, and the servant of all." He took a little child whom he placed among them. Taking the child in his arms, he said to them, "Whoever welcomes one of these little children in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me does not welcome me, but the one who sent me."
Very good, very good. Usually I start my messages with talking about how you would have felt if you were there. I skipped over that this week, so let me ask you the question now. How would y'all have felt if you were one of the disciples after Jesus asked, "What were y'all arguing about on the way here?"
Go ahead.
Probably embarrassed, a little worried, like, oh no.
Right, you've
We were
been
talking
taught.
behind the teacher's back.
And as a firstborn, I felt kind of self-centered because I am.
Yeah. I mean, here we are. We're in the middle of Mark's gospel. Other gospels kind of have these stories towards the end. I just find it's interesting that they're jockeying for position, right? the kingdom is approaching, right? It's coming, and they're trying to figure out, where am I going to be in the pecking order? And I have to, at least in my imagination, these are questions that would have been started by Peter, James, and John, right?
Yeah.
You can just imagine that,
Yeah.
can't you?
Right. Who's the top dog of the top three of the inner circle?
Right, right. They've had experiences now. They've gotten to see the Transfiguration. They've gotten to see. I don't know if that's the right sentence. They got to see the raising of Jairus' daughter. Right. I mean, Peter's walking on water. James and John are about to ask in the Gospels, "Can we sit at your right and your left?"
Right.
I mean, these are pig-headed men.
Well, they're jockeying for position, as you said. They're blocking out.
They are.
You know what it made me think of is I was an elementary school teacher for so many years, and kids always argued on who was going to be the first in line. And I always would say, we're all going to the same place. It doesn't matter who gets there first. We're all walking together.
Right.
Let's just do it together, right? But it's kind of that whole, if I'm there first, maybe I'll get more information or I'll be, have more, right? It's just this,
You're such a girl, Alice.
You're such a
boy.
girl.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make any sense at all.
Maybe it's the other way around, and I'm the only one making sense.
No. You're not all getting there at the same time. It's not the same destination. It's about who's first.
Well,
right?
maybe I'm just not as competitive as you guys.
It is one of my strengths. I'll give you that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right. So this is obviously an embarrassing moment for the disciples, right? I mean, Jesus, he
calls them out.
I love what Jesus does, right? It reminds me of the garden. Remember where God says to Adam and Eve after they've eaten the fruit, "Hey, where are you guys?"
Yeah.
Right? Same thing. Jesus knows what they've been talking about, just like God knew where Adam and Eve were at. And so it just leads to this embarrassment because he knows exactly. And so it leads to a teaching moment because whenever Jesus sits down, whenever the Gospels tell us that, that's an important moment. Jesus is teaching something very serious. And so he teaches the disciples to be the least of all time, which we called
The LOAT.
the LOAT. Now, one of Ellie's confirmation gals looked that up. LOAT is actually a type of woman's shoe. Did you know that? Fact check me on that, Kelly.
I had
While
no
you're sitting
idea.
back there,
Yeah.
look up LOAT.
LOAT.
It's a type of women's shoe. Yeah.
Interesting.
And so, Kelly, whenever you have that answer, you just jump in and you tell us what kind of shoe that is.
I choose not to doubt Pastor Ellie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good answer, John.
I should probably take that to heart a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
really.
So, LOAT is not exactly our default way of living. And as practical, hardworking, competitive Americans, we might scoff at the idea of being the least for others. Why do you think that is?
We've all heard the American dream story of the poor kid lifting himself up by his bootstraps. He goes to college, he makes something of himself, or he works hard and learns a trade and is successful. And so we as Americans are strong individualists and don't necessarily bring others with us as we allegedly rise. The American dream.
Yeah, that's
I'm
pretty
thinking
good.
about. Yeah.
Wow. That was well
It's
summarized.
like you've thought about this before.
Well, I did have an outhouse for several years in my life, so
You're that old?
no, I'm that poor.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm that
Okay.
poor.
All right. I was going to say outhouse. Wow. What do you think, Alice?
I do think there's just, that our culture is definitely one. The more money you have, the better career you have, the more successful you are viewed, right? So I think it's a lot of viewpoints in our culture that you've achieved greatness if you have things instead of maybe how you're serving or loving your family or contributing to the community. That'd make a huge shift in our culture if we could see greatness on all those levels and not just monetarily or the great career or nice car or big house.
More stuff, bigger
More
garages.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you all. I mean, I don't think this is, and I harp on the American culture a little bit sometimes. I don't mean to do that. Just
It is our context, though. So
it is our
yeah.
context. I just, and again, don't get me wrong. All three of us live in a nice house. World in comparison to everything else in the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We just seem absolutely wealthy, and I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I just think that this kind of goes back to that initial issue with Adam and Eve, we want the credit, right? We want to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
We want to be recognized. And so when you're the least of these, you don't get recognition. That was what was so funny during the message is I said, "Who's this guy?" Yeah. And everybody instantaneously said, "Oh, that's Tom Brady." And they didn't even ask the question, "Oh, he might actually be talking about the guy whose back is turned to us, squirting the water into Tom." We just don't even recognize the least of them.
The servants.
Yeah. Or even think about when somebody has reached that kind of GOAT status, how many people did it take to help them get there?
Correct.
Who was on their team, encouraging them, praying for them, doing things so they could focus to get to be the greatest. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. What we've done, I think, and it's good, and I think it also might be manipulated a little bit. What we've done is we've taken this idea of service and we've taken it into leadership circles. So if you've read a leadership book at all, you know that level 5 leadership is servant leadership. If anybody remembers the book Good to Great and things like this. So I think that's a good thing because that's the way leaders are supposed to be, servant leaders. So my question for you, though, is how have you seen servant leadership, this idea of being the least, used to change a company, a situation, people's perspectives, a family? How have you seen it used?
So when I was thinking about this question, I don't know why, but the first thing that popped into my head was that show Undercover Boss. And if you haven't seen that show, it's about people that are like the CEOs of major companies that decide to take a step back and look at everybody that's working in their company and what would they say about it. And usually it's maybe joining kind of the lowest position in that company. And they go undercover. So they're in disguise, and they hear the stories of what do the people think about the leadership? What do people think about that? And so often you hear the people that are kind of at the bottom, for lack of a better way of saying it, are really sacrificing time with their family and their friends, or they're barely making ends meet. But so many of them love the company and have pride in it and speak well of it and want to do better and want to grow. So that's kind of where my head went with this. So often we miss how people that are maybe in lower management or not in leadership really have so many great qualities that help build a company up.
And I'm a presidential scholar, so I was thinking back to.
Wow. He's giving himself more titles.
No, I've read many biographies or autobiographies, and I think of presidents that would lift up the least, and I think about FDR in the Great Depression getting electricity to the rural parts of the country, or starting Social Security. Yes, I'm that old. And or I think about LBJ doing Medicare and Medicaid and the Great Society, in addition to paying for all of the NASA work that was going on in the 60s. Now, he failed for other reasons, but I think about those that would try to lift the whole tide, that would lift the whole human condition, is what I'm searching for.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the examples that I always look for in leaders is to see if they acknowledge other people before themselves, right? And I think that makes a difference in a company. I think it makes a difference even in a family. We didn't talk about this very much on Sunday, but I think that servant leadership is essential for parents, for their kids. And just particularly for husbands, I think there's a lot of garbage out there right now that you can find online about what a husband is supposed to be in a Christian marriage. And a lot of it is he's the boss, he's the leader, he's the one who makes the decisions, he's the one who's in charge. And his wife is just kind of subservient to that. And that's not how I see the gospel, what Jesus says, or what the Apostle Paul says. If anything, Apostle Paul and Jesus say the husband is to be the servant in the family, the person who would lay down his life for his wife and children. And so, in my opinion, when you talk about family dynamics, and specifically, I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent here about husbands. Husbands are supposed to lead with servant leadership. Yeah. So it's not about making excuses for not doing the dishes, right?
Do that.
Well, there you go. Now I fell off the track.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, like,
Well,
it's not about, hey, I haven't watched my quota of football on Sunday, and the dishes are just rotting there. We are first and foremost servants, and that's what I wish I heard more of out in the Christianese world.
Well, it goes back to the garden, right? Like Adam needed Eve to do things together. They were supposed to be partners, right? And when we do premarital counseling with couples, we talk about that. Like, how are you going to divide household chores? What are your beliefs? Because you guys need to do this together as a team, serving each other, so your family learns what that looks like.
Yeah.
The antithesis of servant leadership was when Adam blamed Eve for eating the fruit. Oh,
She
but
made
God,
me.
it
She
was
handed
it
it
was
to
her
me.
problem.
Yeah.
That's just, and we see that a lot. I mean, truly, I'm sorry, we see that a lot in businesses where CEOs get up and say, it's the market, it's the people,
blame game.
it's whatever, and servant leaders take a different path.
Agreed.
Yep.
What are a couple ways that practical ways that Christians can be servants in our modern society? How can we lead as servants?
I think we start by pausing and praying about things and how the Holy Spirit's prompting us to step into situations that are in front of us, so that we can see where the need is, and then who's already doing things that we can join and encourage, right? Like, there are so many great local organizations, Mission of Hope and Hope CDA and Catherine McCauley. Like, they've got ministries that are working to serve our community. Let's join them. Let's, put aside our busyness and say, what do you need? How can we serve you so you can continue to serve other people? Joining people where they're hurting and coming alongside them.
Yeah, and I think I was changed the most in one of my first mission trips on an 8 Days of Hope down to southern Louisiana after another hurricane. And I think I watched people simply pray. I watched people do physical labor. I was certainly part of the untrained labor group that followed orders. But I think the way to provide not just service, but to provide prayer, to come alongside others in their time of trial and to walk with them and then improve, encourage, uplift their lives.
Yeah. I think that's great. I think hurriedness is the thing that hurts us the most right now in the American life, to being servant leaders. Servant leaders lift others up. If you don't have time, then the first thing to go is how you're lifting up other people, right? I mean, I think leadership, the struggle so often is you run out of time to get things done, right? But really, I wonder how much more effective we would be if we said to ourselves, how do I take my time to build others up before just getting things done? It's just something to think about. I think about that. It's basically all about relationships. And how do I build up other people with my leadership, with my service to them above everything else?
Well, and I think if we're Christ followers and we're following his call to be his hands and feet and serve other people, one of the most powerful things we can do is the ministry of presence. Just being around and available and listening, and taking the time to do that in our busyness, to put it aside, to realize sometimes the best things we can do for people is even just showing up and shutting up and just being around.
Right. And I ran into that twice yesterday after the second service, where a lady I'd spoken with on the phone on Friday, I met her in person then, and Michelle Jones coming up and saying, where do we keep the Bibles for like the 10-year-olds? And I was mistaken, and then I went to the far part of the church and I found one, and she walked away happy. And yet I was late to confirmation, but really all I was late to was feeding myself for lunch. It was okay.
Way to take one for the team, John.
Well,
Yeah.
what's more important, putting a Bible in the hands
Amen.
of a child or making sure I don't dry up and blow away when the wind blows too hard?
Yeah.
Oh, there's
yeah.
a Johnism.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
there's Johnism.
And that's a John Mazinski vocabulary word.
Or what's more important, preaching or plunging, right? I mean,
Right.
I talked about
That's a
plunging
great
a
story.
toilet, right?
Yeah.
These are. It's so easy to say, oh, but preaching, that,
In case it was plunging.
In that moment, it was plunging the toilet. By the way, I mentioned on Sunday that the word for servant in this text is not slave,
Yes.
right? So this would be like a household servant. The word in Greek is diakonos, which is where we get the word deacon or deaconess.
Yep.
And so, it is a Christian role, right? Like we have deacons, and we got pastors, and all these words come from the Greek. And so it's interesting to take that into the Christian ministry context and realize every Christian minister is a servant.
And you described it as being part of the family versus being
Correct.
a slave.
Right. So even as pastors, our first calling is to be servants of the church. And so it's a humble calling.
Absolutely.
All right. In summary, Jesus' vision for humanity is that we would be blessed and bless others, and it's something to be thankful for. I think this is the "what would Jesus do" answer. And so, since we're talking about being thankful for things, let's talk about Thursday, Thanksgiving. What's your best or worst Thanksgiving memory?
Can you start while I think about it?
Sure. I don't. Thanksgiving has always been pretty smooth, I think. I think my worst memory is just not getting the brisket done on time.
You don't do turkey?
Well, we did turkey, but it was brisket, and it was a really cold Thanksgiving, so my smoker wasn't keeping up with the heat, and it was just a mess. And then, then it was like, oh, we can never do brisket again because, Paul doesn't know what he's doing. Oh, baloney, people. I know what I'm doing with brisket.
We must
all right?
overreact, Paul.
Yeah, right, exactly. Best memory, honestly, Thanksgiving, I'm more appreciative now than ever of just being with my family, right? Like, to be together with Ellie and the boys, watch a little Cowboys football, things like this. It's a nice day to have that attitude of gratitude.
Well said. I don't know if this is like the worst Thanksgiving, but I have a memory that always pops up with Thanksgiving. So my birthday is right around Thanksgiving. And so I turned 16 and it happened to fall on Thanksgiving Day. So I couldn't go get my driver's license. And I remember being so frustrated and just kind of being that teen 16-year-old pouting at the Thanksgiving table because I couldn't go get my driver's license that day because it was I went the next day. But I vividly remember how that felt as a 16-year-old, like something had been taken from me that I couldn't, go get that. But I love getting together for Thanksgiving. I love hosting. I love making the big meal. I love seeing everybody around the table talking about things they're thankful for and laughing and playing games and all of that. So yeah, it's one of my favorite holidays.
Yeah, I think going around the table and having each person express what they're thankful for is one of my favorite things. That attitude of gratitude that you spoke about. If I think about worst Thanksgivings, it might be passing the plate, taking too much, and then having to put some back on the plate. Because we were boys. It's like a pack of wolves.
Right.
If you don't take
Your
it now,
mom
you're
like
not getting it
smacking
back.
your hand.
And she just send it back around, boys, and put some back. Okay.
That's too funny.
But yeah, that was hard. This coming Thanksgiving with my mom not going to be there, and I'm doing different things than with the other side of the family. But it's just different this year, and so you can call me Pastor Holiday now.
Okay, Pastor Holiday. There we go. That's a great name for pastor.
Pastor Holiday.
Pastor Holiday.
Yeah. I think holidays are tricky because, there's this like Hallmark version. So I'm writing the weekly word this week, and that's kind of what I've been pondering over. So many people love holidays, but there's a lot of people too that are dreading this week, whether it be because they've experienced a recent loss or they can't be with the people they love. And so I would just encourage everybody, even if it's a holiday that doesn't feel right or not the same, to try to remember something that you're thankful for.
Yes.
And be grateful for that, even if it's not how you want it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a submission this week that asked about contentment. So I think contentment goes very much hand in hand with giving thanks, because I think if the whole part of the attitude of gratitude is to be able to put us in a mental, spiritual spot that just says, hey, look, I am okay with God and my relationship with God. There's a contentment there that leads to contentment with the things of life. And so the question that was submitted, is this: is the contentment Paul talks about in his letters the same as happiness or blessedness in Matthew 5?
I dug into the concordance and looked up contentment, and I went to 1 Timothy 6:6 that says, godliness with contentment is great gain. And so this fellowship that we have with Christ gives us an inner contentment. And so if I carry that attitude of gratitude forward, thankfulness for all that God has given or done for me, it's just immense if you look back and think about how blessed you are. And that's what we need to focus on here at Thanksgiving in my mind.
And I go back to your sermon a couple weeks ago where you said we are all blessed. It just doesn't always look the way we think it's going to. And Paul certainly experienced that and still found a way to, even in prison, be thankful that, if he's suffering, at least he's more like Jesus, all those things. So, I think that's where my brain went.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I went to Philippians 4, verse 11, where Paul says, I have learned what it means to be content in all situations. And I kind of going along the lines with what John was saying before, look at these two words. They're totally different words. Yep. They have totally different meanings. So, the question is contentment the same as happiness? No. Contentment for the Apostle Paul is borrowed from Greek philosophy. The word that he uses is all about the contentment that philosophers tried to point people toward.
Is it an inner peace? Is it?
No, it's just contentment with circumstances. How am I going to live my life? I can complain about things.
Or I can be happy.
Or I can just be content, right?
Being
still, yeah. I mean, it's almost, again, I don't want to butcher Stoic philosophy even more, but the how do I find contentment, right, in all things? So Paul uses that in a philosophical term. Jesus, his word for blessed is happy. It is, you are happy when you do these things. And so what I would argue here is, yes, contentment and happiness, I think they do intersect in the Christian life. But Jesus is saying more than just this idea of a Stoic, philosophical, I'm content just because, I can just simply rest in Jesus, right? His blessed life should bring you some happiness, right? When you realize you are blessed by God, no matter what your circumstances are, you could be the poorest person on the face of the earth, and there is something that can bring you happiness, and that is knowing you are blessed by God, that you are God's child, right? That should bring a smile to your face. It should bring praise to your lips and giving thanks to God for just God being who God is, right?
Yep.
So I think Jesus is saying, no, there's a happiness that it goes beyond just being okay with everything to actually living for me. You're going to find out when you are happy because you're persecuted for my name's sake. You're going to find a joy and a life of gratitude that people just aren't going to get, right?
It's like despite all other things, God loves us.
Right.
And we can operate out of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing I would urge to Christians is that I think a lot of times Christians think I just need to be content. I would say you need to be content with happiness, right? Because there are a lot of bummer Christians out there who are just saying, well, I'm just being content, and that's why you don't see a smile on my face because, life is hard. I totally get it. I totally get it. But there's also happiness because you are in Christ, right? He's the joy of the Lord is your strength. So I don't know. I think
know where you're going to end up.
You know you're going to end up. So trust me, I get it. You're facing the worst thing in life. You've got a terrible diagnosis. You've got a terrible disease. You're in a broken relationship. Life is going terrible. I would say to Christians going through that, God doesn't want just contentment. God does want contentment in your life because the opposite of contentment, in my opinion, is complaining.
Yeah.
But God wants you to find that contentment in Him, which then brings you happiness. Right? When you abide in Him, when you're part of, when you're part of the vine,
Yeah.
it makes you happy. You're producing what?
Fruit.
Grapes,
Fruit,
yeah.
which end up being fermented, and they produce wine, which makes man happy.
I thought you were going to fruits of the Spirit in Galatians.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Could go
I'm
either
much
way.
more secular here. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm always the one that guy was like, okay, I've got some caution here because I'm always thinking about people who are having mental health struggles.
Yep.
Or are in deep seasons of suffering. There are going to be times where you're going to have to be okay with not being okay, but realizing that we can abide with him in those moments. We're not going to be happy all the time, but that's what God wants for us. So who do we need to
Correct.
lean on? Who do we need to ask for help? How do we need to stay connected to his word to realize maybe our current feelings of not being able to find happiness, even though we know we are loved by God, that is going to be a season, not our lifetime. And to ask for help if you need that, because God does want us to be happy. And that looks different I think if each of us described what makes us happy, it would be different. But it would, if we can remain in that, it comes from knowing who we are and whose we are. That helps.
And from living that out. I mean, I think I'm going to push back on that just a little bit.
Okay, push back. I'm ready.
Look, I get it that there are moments for joy and there's moments for sadness. There's moments for mourning. There's moments for happiness. Jesus' happiness is not an emotional response. He is saying this is a way to live your life. So you are blessed, not because persecution's fun. Persecution's going to make you very upset. It's could even lead to mental health issues. But Jesus is saying that is actually when you hold on to me real tight, you're going to find that there is happiness there or blessedness. I think the struggle that we have is happy is what you hear from the musical Wicked, right? It's what you hear from Sheryl Crow, what makes you happy. It's what our society spends billions of dollars on to make each of us happy. And Jesus, his blessed, that word happy, there's a much deeper meaning to it, which goes beyond just how I'm feeling emotionally in the moment. Not to disagree with the emotional struggles that we have. I just think that in the deepest despair, there is light, and that light is what produces that blessedness in our life.
I agree. I just am always want to speak truth to people that have been hurt by the church or told, well, you're struggling because you don't have enough faith or you're not praying hard enough. If you did that, you would be happy or you would get out of this struggle. So it's just an awareness, like you said, that deep abiding despite all circumstances to lean on him.
Yep. That's it. That deep abiding. It changes how you see life and even holidays like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, before we end, though, I need to know the fact check we asked earlier. If Kelly found
Oh,
is
yeah,
a
LOAT.
a
Yeah, we forgot about
woman's
that.
shoe.
Fact check.
I don't want to disagree with this student, but I cannot find anything about an LOAT woman's shoe.
Oh, my goodness.
Were they thinking loafer?
That's what I wondered.
Oh.
People also suggested lost shoe quite a bit.
Well, maybe that's what we should create.
We should create
a woman's
LOAT.
shoe, a LOAT.
A LOAT. I like it.
I don't know. Yeah.
like
Sorry,
it.
I just had to get back to that because inquiring minds want to know.
No, that's good.
Didn't
That's
faze
good.
me
Almost
at all.
forgot about it. So
That's why you boys need me to remember everything you've said
Right.
that's it.
and bring it to your attention when you need to be reminded.
That truly makes us happy, Alice.
I'm sure it does.
All right, everybody. Hey, have a great Thanksgiving. Everybody wish Pastor Alice a happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Alice.
birthday.
Thank you.
And we will see you next week. God's blessings as you connect faith and life.
The Knowing Jesus podcast is a presentation of Faith Life Church. Your hosts today were pastors Paul Hennings, Michelle Jones, John Mazinski, and Alice Murray. The Faith Life podcast is produced by Joel Drzymski and Kelly Frampton. Special thanks to those who submitted questions. For more information about the show and our other ministry, visit us at faith-life.org. We'll see you next Monday with a new episode.